Start recording. Awesome. All right, joining us here today, we have Edward Ashaw from ESPN SEC. Man, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I know that my voice is a little nasally, so talking about health will be kind of ironic, but allergies, cold have caught up with me in the springtime.
Would you say fitness is made your allergy and cold season a little bit more feasible, or has it made any difference for you?
So I'm really stubborn, and I will still work out and play soccer and play other sports when I'm sick, which is probably really stupid because it doesn't exactly help my immune system. But I guess I try to sweat it out as much as possible. Like my diet doesn't really change when I get sick. Like I force solid foods down just because I just don't want to eat or drink soup, I guess.
Oh yeah, you gotta drink the soup, man. Campbell's, it's in there.
I'll have at least one. Like I'll have one thing of soup, but I have to have like substance or else I just get frustrated. It's all mental.
It's all mental. All right, yeah, I would like to shout out to our sponsors, Big E, Body by Big E. So we have a Fit Games going on June 4th out here in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas, and it's going to be big, man. So what we're doing, we're bringing multidiscipline fitness industries such as your strongman, your Olympic lifters, your bodybuilders. We're also going to have a high school combine. So it's going to be pretty big event. And we've got our international competitors. So it's something that we can look forward to. With like moving towards, what are some of the things that you do in fitness to keep you motivated, Edward?
I guess my motivation is I want to stay healthy, and I'm incredibly competitive. Like anything that's going on, I race my cat up the stairs here at home. Like that's how competitive I am. Like I have no chance of beating this animal.
Right.
So I always want to do something different every time. So I try to switch up my workouts as much as possible. And I mean, I know that I'm never going to be this huge hulky guy because I'm 5'8.5", so that would look kind of weird on me.
Right.
But I wanna always try to push myself to either more reps or higher weight. So I will routinely change. You know, if I'm going to do heavyweight for a couple of months or if I want to do reps, I'm never satisfied. I get incredibly bored just lifting weights, which is why I love to do, some agility training, some speed. I play soccer. I'll play any sport that anybody asks me to. So I guess my motivation is just always trying to change something. I always want it to be different because I know that, the easiest way to get a setback in working out is to be redundant because mentally you check out and then physically your body ends up checking out. So I'm always trying to change things up.
Okay, man, that's awesome feedback. Would you say your workout regime, does it translate to you actually going out and being active and playing your soccer, or I don't know what else you do in your extracurricular activities, but tell us about how, working out translate to the soccer field. What position do you play at soccer? Things like that.
Well, see, I'm a goalkeeper, and being 5'8"
Whoa.
and being a goalkeeper, you have to be incredibly physical, and you have to be able to make plays that a 6'3" person would. Now, I understand that I'm not going to make all those plays, but I always want to key in on my legs, making them stronger so that I can jump higher, jump more laterally, and I also have to make sure that I have the quickness and speed to cover my angles because my body can't do it. It's not as big. So I would say the biggest difference that I've seen since changing up my workouts, trying to get stronger and leaner and faster, is my agility is much different. Like I'm much faster out there. I'm quicker, and it helps. Hand-eye coordination is one thing, but you have to have quick legs as a goalkeeper. So the more that I change, the more that I evolve, it certainly helps me. And even on Sundays, my buddies and I go out and we play some touch football, which is highly competitive, highly fun. And I feel like I can burn guys a little bit more on the outside and jump a little bit higher than some of those other kids who are a few inches taller than me.
Oh, wow. Okay. So would you say working out contributes to your mental health, man? You seem very mentally sharp, and like when you're in the zone, like does that help? Does it help your competitive edge?
I think it does. I've never really thought about it like that, but I do think that the sense that I'm always trying to push myself in some respect, even with writing, I wouldn't say I compete with other writers, but I'm always trying to do something different, do something out of the norm, whether it's working on a certain story or trying to do some TV work, something like that. And I think that competitive nature that I've always had pushes me in that sense. So maybe it's not necessarily, what I'm doing in the gym is influencing it. I think it's just kind of that mindset of I can't be satisfied with just sitting around. Like, I'm moving all the time. So you can't see, but my arms are going everywhere under this camera and my legs are moving. I'm just obsessed with being active. Like, I was thinking about this, and this has nothing to do with your question at all. But
Hey, it's all good, man. Go for it.
If I had the chance to play a sport every single day for hours on it, like, I feel like I'm not great at basketball. I can defend, I can shoot threes, I have a terrible handle, but I can stay out there. I could play for 8 hours in a row just because I like playing sports. Like, I just love the idea of being out there. I could play soccer all day long. And so I think that's something that kind of drives me mentally and physically.
Okay, so moving forward from your activity on field, so tell us more about like how that competitive edge propels you forward in your career. Actually, let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, the fact that I'm 30 and I'm fortunate enough to work for ESPN, I'm still not satisfied. Like, I still don't feel like I've made it. I always want to push myself to do more things. And I love my job. I mean, it's great being able to cover SEC football and be able to cover college football in general. But I always want to, find different stories, find different ways of getting stories to readers, whether it's on camera, whether it's a different style of writing or blog post or a column or a long form feature. Like, there's always something more that I'd like to do. I think that helps me. Obviously, this is an incredibly competitive business. And whenever I've spoken, to younger writers, I always say, come take my job, because that was kind of the advice that I was given in college, that if you want something, go take it. And so whenever people are like, how can I help myself going into college or coming out of college, I say, well, go for someone's job, not necessarily taking that specific one, but plan like you are. And I think that's that competitive nature that I've always had and that athletes have, and that, anyone who wants to stay active and physically fit has.
That's awesome, man. I heard you mention your blog. It's a fairly successful job. I said job, blog. Tell us more about what are some things you like to blog about, man?
Well, so the SEC blog, I think it's a blog by name, but it's certainly turned into more of a news outlet, an opinion outlet. We have social posts. We have 4 other SEC writers with me, and we essentially cover the league from top to bottom in college football. And things can range from seeing a Florida football player doing a Rubik's Cube in 13 seconds to writing a story about a guy who shredded his knee, 8 months ago and came back in 6 months. So we have so many different topics. It's incredibly unique. It's a lot of fun. It's really informative. And I think that we make it easy for readers to keep in touch with not just their favorite SEC football teams, but the rivals, the teams that you don't really hear a lot about. I think there's always something interesting that we're putting into the blog every day. So to call it a blog, I think that's what it started from, but it's certainly much more than just that.
Yeah, it seems like it's very, very, very informative to us, us mortals, because you guys are like the mecca of sports. So, ESPN is playing everywhere in your airports. I see ESPN in church. That's
that's the next level. That
is the next level, man. It's the pinnacle, the apex. So, what are some of the things that you particularly like to blog about? What do you think the public needs to hear through your blog posts?
I think it's always different. I really like to write long form features. I like telling stories. I think that's why I got into this. I like the human side of athletics. I don't think that we, in general, in society, look at athletes as humans like we should. I have a huge problem with that. So I like being able to tell those stories. But then I like writing funny stuff or reactions to things. Georgia paying $63,000, $68,000 to have Ludacris and play at their G-Day. That's a funny story to me. Will Muschamp signing this Auburn. I remember when he was coaching in Florida, he signed an Auburn fans poster with "Go Gators" on it. That kind of stuff. It's a quick, 100, 200 word blog post that I think fans will get a crack out of. They'll laugh at that. Guys who have these crazy outfits for games, going to games and finding unique fans, things like that. So I think it's always different. I always lean toward kind of a longer form feature because I get really invested in some of those, and they're incredibly fun to write. And sometimes these deep investigative news stories, I haven't been asked to do a ton of that because we have a great investigative team already. But when you get to help those guys, you get to see a different side of journalism from just writing these features or these quick reactions and stuff like that. So it's always all across the board, and I think I like that a lot because, like I said earlier, it's always something different that's getting thrown at me.
Okay, that's awesome. And you're a University of Florida Gator, right?
I'm a grad. I graduated in 2009. Yes, or fall of 2008. Fall of 2008.
Who was a quarterback there during your journey?
So it started off with Chris Leak, and then Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow. Whoa, you were there for the Tebow days. Tell us about that. How was that, man? I bet that was an electrifying time for University of Florida.
It was fun for so many different reasons, and not necessarily just from a fan perspective. I mean, I have to be completely honest. When I started getting into covering the team, I lost my fanhood because I wanted to be objective. I wanted to be able to be an honest journalist and look at this team as just another team. And I think I did a pretty good job of that. I still do it today. I have to cover them and this whole entire league, no matter what some fans out there might say with their homer calls for me. But it was really fun to watch those teams because I'd never seen so much talent together on one field for so many games. I mean, I grew up in Oxford, Mississippi, and Ole Miss football wasn't great when I was growing up in the 90s. It's certainly 10 times better than it was then. But to see this Florida team, to see an iconic player like Tim Tebow, I saw Cam Newton before he was the Cam Newton that everyone knows. I actually played NCAA football on PlayStation with them a couple of times. And
that's cool.
Just to see how well those teams interacted and played together was phenomenal. I mean, the days of Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow and Joe Hayden and Percy Harvin and guys like that. Oh, wow,
yeah, Percy Harvin is electrifying. That's one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can equate it to is watching these Alabama teams. The dominance that they've had, the consistency that they've had. I mean, and Urban Meyer certainly wasn't there as long as Nick Saban has been at Alabama, but you saw the teams from late in 2005 when he starts to get it going, kind of changing the offense a little bit. 2006, completely different team. They won a national championship. 2007, totally different team. Most prolific offensive year we've seen. 2008, they win a national championship with one of the best defenses in the country and one of the best offenses. Like, it was just so much fun from just a fan of college football to see that all in one place. And then to go around to different stadiums, to see the SEC like I've really never seen it before was just a lot of fun.
Wow, that sounds like you witnessed the highest level of fitness. these freakish
those
athletes,
guys were
man.
Pretty fit. Yeah, I don't think I was beating any of them in anything. I always said the only thing I could probably beat those guys in was like a few mile run, because playing soccer, whether I was a goalkeeper or not, I was always trying to have that kind of endurance with cardio. So that's probably the only thing that I could beat any of them at, except for maybe the kickers, since they're soccer players anyway. So
right. So like with in society, we often measure ourselves to the elitist of the athletic brand or athletic individual. Do you think that it's a misconception that the people at home, they're not as athletic? Do you think that has an effect on how people actually perform or their willingness to come out and go to the gyms? Do you think that that's a problem? Or
I see it both ways. I think that, growing up, my parents thought that I was going to play baseball. Like, I was going to be a Major League Baseball player, and I never thought that was going to happen. I mean, I knew where I was limited, and I loved soccer more, and I always knew that I was never going to play for the U.S. national team because, hey, at 5'8", no matter what kind of training I was ever going to get, size was going to be an issue for me.
Right.
But I think that there are a lot of people that are probably influenced poorly by what we see from athletes, thinking, hey, you know, I can do this. But on the other side of that, I think that's great that some people can say, hey, I think I can do this. That's going to push people more, whether it's in athletics, whether it's in lifting or any sort of working out to everyday life. If you set your goals high, then you're probably going to come close to exceeding those goals, if not, you know, far exceeding them. So I could see it both ways. I think that a lot of times people put all their eggs into the athletic basket and it doesn't work, or some other basket, you know, when they want to get to this high elite level and it doesn't work out. But I also think that that's great motivation. I think that if I had never thought that I was going to play professionally, you know, when I was younger, that was a dream of mine to play for the U.S. national team. It pushed me to want to be better in soccer. I think as I got older and realized, hey, that's not going to happen, I should probably keep to studying and try to do something else. I still love the game. I didn't stop. And you just find different outlets and different ways to motivate yourself.
Awesome. So what would your advice be to those weekend warriors? You know, like you said you wanted to be a part of the U.S. national team, and unfortunately you didn't make it to your pinnacle. But you know, you still play soccer on the weekends, the weekdays. You play intramurally, correct? So what's
Right.
some advice that you can give to you know, to us people out here that, you know, we're not in the NBA, we're not in the NFL, we're, you know, some of us didn't play college ball. You know, what would you advise us to do?
I mean, if you're out there and you enjoy sports and you enjoy being active, do it. I mean, just keep doing it. Have fun with it. I brought this up over and over again. I'm incredibly competitive, and I can lose my temper out there when I'm playing. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that I still have that edge I had in high school and I had in college when I was playing. Because it still shows me I love it. I love playing. I'm going to play, you know, City League soccer and try to win a T-shirt for as long as possible because, A, it's an outlet. It's a way to get away from, you know, normal life, and it's a way to kind of look back at my childhood and do all that blah, 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 cliche stuff. But it's fun. I love playing sports. And now that I'm 30, you know, I know that the legs are going to start giving a little bit more because I don't have those elite trainers to help me out, and I can't get a massage every day, but I'm going to keep playing as long as I can. So I guess that's my advice. If you love it, keep doing it.
Love it, keep doing it, man. Tell us about some of the relationships you've developed from playing sports. I know we're paired with people from all walks of life. Do you think that's important, that not necessarily sports, but fitness has brought you together with different, you know, all walks of life? How's that going?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that sports and fitness, they're like math. I mean, it's a universal language. Like everyone knows run, lift, you know, stretch. Those are easy things to do in some sort of capacity. And I think that when you're training or working out and you meet somebody who's either at your level or maybe a little higher or maybe even a little lower, you know, there's some motivation there. There's conversations to be had. There are people that you can, you know, kind of gel with in that sense. And so I've made plenty of friends. My gym now, I've made tons of friends over the years, from Little League soccer to Little League baseball, college soccer, high school soccer, all that, because I think that sports, you know, bring us together in a sense. And that sounds very Hallmark card-ish, but it's true. I mean, I think that working together with people, whether it's in a business, whether it's on a project in school, or it's on an athletic field, you learn a ton about people. And I think that that's really attractive to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. We really appreciate your opinion on the fitness industry, on your career. Moving forward, on June 4th, do you think you can make it out to Houston for our event?
Well, I guess, unfortunately, fortunately, I'm going to be busy that weekend.
Okay.
So I won't be able to make it, but I do want to play. See, I've only done one of those kind of like obstacle sort of races or fun days in that sense, and I want to do more of them. And it was a zombie run, and this is a little shout out to myself. but I was one of the few people who actually survived. And the way that they kept score was you had 3 flags, and it was a 5K run, and it was an obstacle run. You had to get by these people who were dressed as zombies. And I only had 2 of my flags taken, and I actually sprinted past a few people at the end. We were unleashed, you could say, into a field of zombies, and I was able to juke a couple people and get by and survive. So that kind of stuff's really fun. I was listening to you talk about it, and it sounds like a bunch of fun, but my June is tied up, so unfortunately I won't be able to go.
Oh man, so question of the day, are the zombies fast or are they slow?
So some of them were fast, most of them were slow, but they were all together in some areas, which made it tough. But I will say that my second flag got taken because of a guy who started sprinting, and they're not allowed to sprint. And so I think he just got frustrated because I juked him out, and he fell, and then it was muddy, and I slipped, and that's how he caught me. But he ran behind me. And technically that's against the rules, but I survived.
So it was a mixture between Walking Dead and World War Z.
Yes. But I think only one guy decided not to do Walking Dead. Most of them were pretty slow and were Walking Dead-like. But it was still tough. I mean, you still have 5 people in a line, and you're trying to get by them. I got lucky on one. There was a guy who had already had all of his flags taken early. So he was like, I'll just shield you, because I gotten away from the people who were on my team. And I was like, well, it's either me or the zombies. And this guy was like, hey, I'll help you out. I'm already dead. So he just kind of blocked me, and I took off the other way. So teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work, man. A human sacrifice. That's cool. Well, Edward, man, hey, thanks for your time, man. The conversation we just had, you never know, man. It touched a lot of people. Us at Future Media TV, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts to stay fit, man. Just stay focused. Continue to motivate those, and be the best Edward Ashoff Edward can be. All right.
I'll try.
That was a good
I'll try.
All right, man. Hey,
first I have to get this cold out of my system.
Oh man, you sound better already, man. You sound better
all
already.
That
Yeah, all that talking, burn those calories by talking, man. All right,
Exactly.
man. Hey, nice talking to you. Hey, man, I'll see you around, man. We'll stay in touch.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, peace.